Here, again, starting a fourth of these learning scenarios around the marshes of Saint Laurent. The usual problem. Oh, I've got to take my garbage out. The usual problem of finding the pieces. I found there were a few pieces that I was using from previous scenarios, but I've been putting things away that I'm not using for the next scenario each time. With the French, it took a decent amount of time hunting through these to find almost all the pieces. And then this fucker took me forever. I had to go to individual counter by counter, just looking at every single counter to see if it was that. They're not organized. They're not organized in a way that's particularly useful, other than by army and by corps. But it's very hard to find something like this. The loose units, they're not like in any kind of order that feels reasonable to me right now. Now, maybe they will feel more reasonable when I start looking at the grand scenario. Maybe they're set up so that it's good for that, somehow. Though honestly, you probably start with these learning scenarios and, fight your way through them. And then when you get to the grand scenario, you might well be in a position where you've popped out a lot of the counters and you just decide, fine, I'm going to have to pop them all. But, yeah, it's just another one of the issues involved here. I'm going to go check to see if I have any garbage to bring down. On the usual personal side, I managed to get what I wanted to done today. Actually, a few things. Got the stuff notarized and sent off. That was the important thing. But also, I managed to buy a new pipe, lighter fluid that I absolutely needed, and a pouch, which I kind of need. The pouch was only $10. That's about what I pay. I don't know if I pay 8 or 12 when I order them online. Felt like, yeah, okay. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it'll work. And the pipe, unfortunately, is a piece of crap. It looked good, but the store I buy it from, I think they get all their pipes from China. And I swear it's not actually even made of wood. It may be just like a resin or something cast. And then the mouthpiece is really flimsy. I haven't had good. It conducts way too much heat out of the bowl, and again the mouthpiece isn't very good. So it was cheap. I'll say that much. It was like $20, about half what I'd expect to pay for something of its style and size through the online. But it was not worth it. I'm just gonna. But maybe it serves as my go out pipe sometimes that I'm willing to lose. Germans, on the other hand, can be relatively easy to get through, mainly because they have the army stripes. The French don't have those, so and that's the thing. They're segmented by army for the Germans. I don't know what they're segmented for, other than units of the same corps, because there is no army association for the French units, and they're scattered around in all kind of weird places. I'm becoming fairly good at catching the army colorings, seeing which sheet that's on, and being able to find the pieces for that. We have something interesting here, which is we're going to have limited lines of communication on a lot of these German units. I have not yet set up. I can at least get the this thing. We got a lot of weird markers, like a little peace symbol here with a star in the midst of it. A couple of these, I don't know what they are. They're not on the board, so I don't know what those are intended for. I'm assuming there's a bunch of special rules we'll have to go through. But at the very least, I can put these guys down on the 1 track. I don't think I need the casualties marker, but we'll see. And we're going to be looking at game turns 17 through 20. Strangely. The French-Belgian side, and Brett's the Entente side, is on the front of the counter, even though the Germans go first. I find that annoying. And we got an iron cross here and an iron cross here. I'm assuming those are like victory point locations or something along those lines. This is set up here at 6 turns. I think it's this P here, and not the rail depot that's outside the town there. I think. Alright, I'm feeling too kind of tired to really start playing. Yeah. Long walks do that to me. I haven't slept yet, but I figure I might as well get the setup done. The fact that I can't do the setup until that first turn is just creates this weirdness in my head. And there's no reason that I can see this rule exists, but anyhow, let's take a look at what the special rules here are. A gap appeared between the lines. Joffre created an army detachment to Foch, becoming the 9th Army to fill that gap. After a long retreat, Joffre ordered a resumption of offensive, and the 9th Army, placed around the marshes of Saint-Gon, sprang into action. But quickly, German troops succeeded in repelling the assaults. On September 8th, they conquered Ferré-Champenois, and on September 9th, the strategic position of Mont-Haut. Thanks to the timely intervention of the right wing of the 10th Army Corps, part of Franchet d'Esprit's 5th Army, Foch managed to reoccupy a castle, blah, blah, blah. Von Bülow was forced to fall back on the 9th. I don't know. Okay, so this is starting in September 3rd or 4th and going until the 10th. Let's just look at what this battle played a fundamental role in the French victory of the Marne. Okay. We've got a single failure for entrenchment before you have to stop trying. Game turn 17. That is the first turn of the game. The Germans are connected to their networks by the HCR, La Fer Saint-Quentin, Cambrai, Valenciennes, Mons. I don't know. I have no rail markers on here, which makes this weird. As many bridges are destroyed, no HCR inside the game surface is connected. I have no idea what it's trying to tell me. None of these things are on the map that I can see, and none of them have references. So it's totally fucking useless. This situation prohibits RMVs, rail movement, and implies that the line of communication is optimized from hex AL20 with 40 movement factors. AL20 is up here. So I'm guessing, I mean, the Germans are up here. I don't know. I don't know how to judge what they're talking about. It might make sense if I had the whole map, but probably not. During the movement phase, this is also game turn 17. During the movement phase, at the time of the unit's arrival, French units may position themselves either in the initial hex or in an adjacent hex not occupied by the Germans. Okay, that's weird. Then game turn 19, the 24 ID and 40 ID will exit on the east side with a minimum step total of 7. Oh, really? Okay. I think that means that I can throw steps in from other stuff or something. I don't know. Good luck remembering that. The 14 ID is not subject to regrouping. The fuck? And appears in AM 17. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, it's funny. I've just gotten kind of used to what I thought were the rules, and now the specific rules are just fucking all over the place in terms of shit. The 14 ID. First of all, I don't know whose that is. I think it's German, because SSR 5 is listed here. SSR 4, this is actually listed here, but I gotta get at least 7 steps, which might not be possible. I don't know what regrouping is. So let's go look that up. 9.4 something. I think it was 11. That may be the, if it is 9.411, it doesn't say anything about regrouping. Yep, that's indeed the right rule. Attacking infantry belonging to the same corps unless autonomous will get an unfavorable. Okay. So they made up a term for it for this one. That's cool. Sure, whatever. Like, at least there's a reminder that there's a special rule, but man. The 25IB appears in all these things and is not subject to regrouping either. Okay, great. That'll be this one. The German and French are not allowed to perform FOMs, I never have, and all units have a movement factor divided by 2. But that's only on game turn 20. Now I do have replacements, and the French do, and they have a couple to begin with. So I got to find the marker for that. I don't know where I hid that. What's the victory condition? Hold hex AK-14. Who holds it? The Germans. They only have to do one of these. I'm assuming all the others have been all of them. Well, they don't say. H-I-J-K. That's my victory point hex. That appears to be this. Or hold 2 out of 3 from, I guess, these 3. AM-15, AJ-15, and AH-15. So, whatevers. All right. Just reading that, knowing that none of it's sinking in, right? None of it. Has already fatigued me. All right, let's start with, I gotta find the French infantry. Okay, great. Now I'm a little worried here. This unit has a limited line of communication. Why? I don't know. If I'm drawing an LOC from hex AL20 with 40 movement factors, I'm allowed like 100, if I recall correctly. this is like 10, 20, 30. That brings me to like 70. Or if I have 40 left, it's enough. This unit's not out of communication in any way. I don't get it, like much, and we're out of the scenarios, starting with the last one, the Namur one. They no longer have playthroughs, even though they're learning scenarios, which is fine. It's just there's stuff I don't understand at all. Why this thing is a limited line of communication. Has to have a headquarters. This looks like it's the same color. It's even the same, yeah. Well, this is a different corps, but when something's like the 10th and the 10th Reserve, they're in the same army. So, yeah, this looks like it's part of this army. So I've got the army headquarters part of it. I've got the range to there as much. I got no idea. Yeah, it's 100 movement factors normally. I'm taking it as I had to spend 40 to get here. I don't see any reason I can't get here. You might be saying maybe this is that darker river type. I can't tell. It doesn't look any darker. It just looks thick. So I got no idea what they're talking about. Like, as soon as I do a logistics, I'm going to remove that because it doesn't fit. I got no idea what the fuck's going on here. For some reason, and they haven't done this elsewhere, I've got these two units in the same hex, but not next to each other on the setup chart. They're from different armies, and that kind of makes some sense, but they haven't been doing that before. So I don't know. This thing is just such a fucking mess. I was thinking maybe there's an impact here. No, it says I remember. There's no cost for crossing a river. A major river would cause an issue, but all of these would be out, if any are. Certainly this back here would be. Fucked if I know. I guess I've set up all the German units. All of these limited lines of communication I don't believe in. These guys showed up on the movement segment of the turn. I mean, everybody's within range of their headquarters. This comes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know? And everybody with the 0 movement point cost for this is in range of this hex. It should be 60. So 10, 20, 32, 42, 52, not quite. This one I buy. That one is out of command. But maybe not. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Not quite. Okay. Yeah, this one's out of command. These guys I don't buy that they are. These guys I don't buy that they are. Maybe they've fallen back from somewhere that they're out of command for this first turn of the game and won't be immediately afterwards. It's not like the French can attack them. So I don't know why we would care about this. Can't take replacements. I don't have any. I mean, None of the things that affect it, which are combat, absorbing replacements, and bridge, railroad destruction, structure repair. They can't do any of those. The only thing, like, there are no replacements for the Germans. There's absolutely no effect of this, and it's going to go away for everybody except this guy. So, well, there we go. That's how I get it. That's what I understand out of it. I guess I'll set up the French. I've already got their replacements on the board. And the French have special rules for their placement. They can be in an adjacent hex. Maybe. Like, I got no idea what I'm trying to do, so why the hell would I care about that? Maybe I see part of the point behind this. I'm trying to remember what we had here. No, these two have the same symbols on them. What I'm seeing here is this AJ15 and AJ15. And that J is hard to tell. Like, it's not an L, though. Are both in the same hex, but this has a reduced symbol next to it, so okay, maybe. I am kind of bothered. So we've got ALs, AJs, and AIs. And I mean, they're all distinguishable, but my little brain doesn't like them, doesn't work well with them. I would much rather have hex numbers on things. This, like, hex lettering, or letters mixed with numbers and stuff. It's just a bad idea. You know, SPI figured out put numbers everywhere, and anything that's kind of diverged from that's been problematic. Even games I love, like the like the gamers stuff, the OCS and their tactical stuff, has this weird kind of, yes, they use numbers, but they only number every fifth hex or something like that. It's like, come on, just put a number in every fucking hex. Some of them might not be easily readable because of terrain patterns and stuff. So if you don't have it in every hex, it's harder to figure out where something is if you can't read it. Consider the French, and I believe I'm allowed to try to entrench on this first turn. I think they say that. Well, wait, maybe that was only in the special rules for scenario 1. No, that's SSR 1. Okay, this is specific to this scenario, that the units appear and cannot move, but they can build field works. I don't think that's part of the rules. So we'll have to look that up every time, because now I have this vague memory of that first one. So 10.1.5 we have to look up. I've given up on the line of communication. It doesn't make sense. You know. 10.1.5. No, that's not that. I don't know what the fuck it is. That's not what I was looking at. 7.7 is unit arrival. Okay. I can choose the UFA, nothing about building entrenchments. Yeah, that's something special just in that first scenario. But I will have to look it up every time it's mentioned, because it's just unbelievable. Okay, so, like, the ways that they express information in this are just as badly designed as the rest of the stuff in terms of making it hard on the players. So, my main hex that the French want is this one, AK-14, this hex here. The way I'm looking at things, this looks nasty. and I got a little river line here. I think I like this line that's being held here, but, oh, I got to worry about the other hexes though. This one, this one, and what is the other one? AH15. Okay. So I can move these all by one. I kind of like the idea of trying to defend. I'm not going to try to defend this because I got a nice river line there. I kind of like the idea of trying to defend this, which means I'll move these two up. And this is pretty important, but wait, or this, I don't know. Yeah, they're both important. I'll put this guy in here, and I'll put this guy here. Fuck him. I'll move these guys over here to help defend this line, I guess. I don't know. And I'll move Fock up one because what the hell, maybe I want to advance or something. I've lost if I lose this line that I'm holding. And so that is both sides' first turn, as best as I can guess. I think these are all gone already because they don't actually apply. The problem is the Germans do have a bit of an issue. Coming from here, if this is 40, they will start hitting line of communications issues. Anyway, the hell with it. I'm done for tonight. We set it up, we get to mark the play, and we'll come back to it tomorrow when I'm more awake. Back down here, it's a Wednesday afternoon. I got up a little later today. It was already getting warm. I might try to do some yard work after a couple of days. So the next couple of days are supposed to be rainy. So it's like, I ought to get something done. But I got a couple of things done this week, which is better than I usually do. So I can't feel too badly. I mean, I can. Anyway, here we are. Although I already played a turn, we're going to start with the German turn. And the first thing is this administrative phase where we have to adjudge the lines of communication. And all these starting lines of communication, limited lines of communication, except for this one, appear to be false. I can't find any excuse for them. So off they come. They had no effect. I don't know why they're there. I can't find any indication in the rules why they would be there. And where they are doesn't entirely make sense either, I guess. Like, why are these units not under it? This is the AM16. I don't remember, which is not under it, yet is about as far away as this. I can't figure out what the intention is. And if I can't justify it under the rules and can't find any explanation for it, well, fuck it. Now, in terms of the victory for this game, it's up to the Germans to do things, because AK-14, which is this hex, is my main victory hex. I ought to get some of my tiddlywinks or whatever down here to mark these, because even with this small thing, it's hard to keep track of what it's going. Now, when I looked at this, September 9th, okay. I'm just trying to look. So after the long retreat, Joffre ordered a resumption on September 6th, not 9th. It's the 9th Army. I see no reason to do that. The French are holding the ground that they need to win right now. I don't know about a castle of Mondemont. Is that this thing? I don't know. I don't see like an old fortification or anything on the board. So yeah, no idea there. What do these crosses mean? Yeah, that's a good question. They're not the victory point locations. Maybe I ought to look that up. There's no indication, like, this is the first time I've seen them in the game. I probably saw them in the rules. So I'll go look to see if I can figure out what they might mean. I think these are campaign game victory condition locations, which really should not be on, although I can see why they would do it, not wanting to upgrade the graphics or whatever, but they should have been removed, ideally. They're just adding confusion to a situation where they don't matter at all. In fact, it would be kind of nice to put victory point stars of different kinds on the hexes, like I would use with my they had to do some work to just make sure they only had this part of the map, not you know, a little bit of additional editing would have been helpful when you have a minor map that just handles a single scenario. So, okay, at least I know what they are. They're meaningless. And as far as I can tell, it's up to the Germans to try to launch an attack. We'll get rid of all this shit that I had to place, because I can't figure out any reason why it's there. This one can go 10, 22, 32, no wait, this one might be a problem. Let me see. 10, 22, 32, 42, can't quite reach there because there's 40 here. Or there's 40 the other way, in which case this one would be a problem too. Wait a minute. What if it is 40? Hold on. What if it is 40? What? Maybe it means I have 40 movement points from here, and that's all I can draw from. And I can't extend it. There were special rules about that, right? As many bridges are destroyed, no HCR inside the game surface is connected. This prohibits RMVs and implies that the LOC is optimized from this hex with 40. Yeah, maybe that's it. Hold on. I thought I had counted this and didn't come up with it. But if I look here, 12, 22, 32, 42, not good enough. I think I see something here. Piece, which would have been in supply here, actually is supposed to start in this hex. I got something fucked up there. I found it. It's AL16. A K16 is problematic. It doesn't have a 40 movement point. Jesus, those movement point totals. AI17 is back here. That would be 12, 22, 32, 42. Can't quite do it. I buy that. Yeah. So that's what it is. It's a 40 movement point traced going back to here. And these guys are not in a full line. They're in a limited line. So I'm okay now. I'm okay. I understand it. That makes me a lot happier. Part of the problem was that I had something set up in the wrong hex, and it was clearly in a full line of communications. So that's going to make it a little harder on the Germans. Let me go get those fucking tiddlywinks, because I can't understand what's going on without them. It does more good than ill for me. It kind of covers some of the terrain more, but it's hard enough to see things. French did not get a chance to rebuild. This is the first scenario that I've seen where both sides get a chance to play. Yes, the French are on the defense, but they don't have to, like, I don't know. They don't have to just hold their territory. They have some capability to counterattack and whatnot. It looks long enough. I also have to keep in mind on turn 19, next turn, the Germans have to withdraw these 2 units. I don't know where they are. I could find that out pretty quickly. 24th ID and 40th ID. Okay, maybe not all that easy. 24th ID and 40th ID are in AG-16. Well, that's all the way over here. Better not have to do it in supply. On the east side with a minimum of 7 steps. Now, I don't know what I can do to regain steps. I could try to rebalance units or whatnot. When does that happen? That happens during movement, I think. I'm not absolutely certain. Now, replacement absorption happens during combat. So I can't do it during turn 19. So basically, any attack I make with these, I can't take more than 1 step of losses from them. So that's something to keep in mind. I only need 2 of the blue or the red to win the game. So I guess I move forward. Do we have the line of communication problem? Rules. I remember them being pretty limited in terms of effect. ABUs and ABFs have a penalty. Combat has a penalty in both directions, attacking or defending. They cannot absorb replacements. Probably not an issue. I'll just have to attack in conjunction with other things. And they can't do engineering type stuff, which they can't do anyway. Fair enough. So let's move forward. And I've already fucked up. Okay, so things I've learned. First thing, and I'm going to have to do lookups and try to see where they came from to judge this. I can fix it. What I fucked up was I had units that moved more than 50% of their movement, and I forgot. You do that, you get a marker. Nobody moved 100%. Well, I don't think anybody moved 100%. Like, it's really weird because you pay like 2 extra movement points for this. So, you know, you might have used 48 of your 50, well, 42 of your 50 movement points. You still just get the same effect that you would at 25, but whatever. I also realized this unit here, its other core component is not on the map yet, so it has a penalty if it fights, for whatever that's worth. So I don't want to throw that into any fights, which is why it's off here connecting my forces. I will look through about those, whatever the markers are, I gotta find them, that give me a penalty during attacks. Now, I think it's just on my cab, but I'm not sure. I could look pretty quickly. I've been forgetting about this. Are we on game turn 18 yet? We actually are. So this rule ends. The reserve and territorial units no longer have a penalty, but I've been forgetting about this modifier entirely. I don't know how much it's mattered. I wasn't doing a lot of assaults on units, but there were a couple in those siege type things. But again, there's just so many modifiers, this big list, it's hard to remember to even check them all. And it's where this movement thing came into mind. It's like, yep, I am not going to play, this game is not going to be played as accurately as a simpler game would be. Which means that whatever realism they're trying, by me. Some people might be great at it. I'm guessing almost everybody will make mistakes continuously. Like, they will not, you know, be able to get the accuracy that the game is trying to portray, because there are simply too many little things to remember and keep track of and whatnot, and it's easy enough to start forgetting some. Same problem I had with Summer Storm. You make a game too complex, too mechanically difficult to deal with, too big a list of modifiers, too many special case rules and whatnot, and they get dropped. And you end up with something that contains those rules, a rule set that contains those special rules, expects you to be able to deal with them, yet you're simply not able to. And therefore, it loses the accuracy. It's worse than a simpler game, a game with less mechanical complexity that would allow you, that's designed to provide that kind of padding, that kind of abstraction in it. It's designed for it. This game is not designed for it, which means that any flaws you put are actually kind of breaking that historical realism. At the best, what you hope for is that, or what you get out of it, is the equivalent to a more abstract game. But I think you actually get worse. Simply because, in my case, it's beyond my ability. Top of it, there's trying to correct things that you can correct to try to improve that capability. And here I'm getting a -1 on my cab. That's so minor, right, for that extended movement capability. But now I have to do a fair amount of work to make up for it. And I actually have to do a fair amount of work, period, that's creating this tiny little modifier. And part of me is just saying, it's not fucking worth it. I screwed up already, but I can fix it, so I must. But that extra frustration, that leads to sort of a domino effect, where I'm going to probably fuck up more things because I'm trying to fix this thing at some point or another. It's just, I understand the reality of the situation. The piece of shit new pipe I got. I think it's made out of a resin or something. It's really crappy. Only units that moved that far were artillery, and they're not going to be affected by this because they will only be partially committed to the battle. So I was just peachy and fine, which means I grabbed one of these. I just feel like I have to have so many, for this little tiny map, I have so many things, and I'm having to paw through that. That's my own fault. But, the counter tray would be there anyway. We don't have any barrages because I didn't have any artillery in place before the movement phase. I just did the movement phase. None of this is applied. So we hit the combat phase. There's no assaults, and I don't think there's any French cav. The only way I can really... Oh, wait. There was one in AG-13. I don't think they want to withdraw. That's this unit down here. But I think I have to declare my attacks first. And I'm going to concentrate these units on this hex. What's the fuck? This guy must be here. And I mean, that gives me the conditions for the win. Do I want to throw another force in? Do I want to try to take something else? This would get me the penalty, and I don't know what it is. Like, again, internalizing what is my problem for throwing something that's not part of the same core in? Well, it's a really painful +5 modifier. And if I'm throwing these 3 units into this hex, this is the only unit that has this penalty right now. And maybe it's got a special role for it. Because there are like 3 units that have special roles, and they may be this. Damned if I can remember, but again, I don't care. They're not marked. as far as I know. I could make some kind of attack against this, but that doesn't look likely to be good. We're looking at like 59 points. So I'm going to let the French try to throw me out of hexes, see what kind of damage they take on their attacks. So I think this is all I'm doing. Now, I've got the limited line of communication, which again, I think just affects cab. I looked for it, I couldn't find it. So I'll figure out what this battle is. I'll write everything down because every combat has to be written down as if this is, one of those much more complex. So this is the thing. Why do I feel a problem with this? Because I'm doing something that feels very much like just a big, clumsy sort of CRT type thing. But because of the checks that I have to make and the number of those, I really do need to write the results down at least, even if I don't have to write down necessarily the odds. So sometimes I don't write the odds down, but I almost always have to write the results down because I have to make so many combat checks. It's basically one per unit out of the results that I get. Weird questions. Like I have this is 34 strength points. Artillery alone from it could provide me with 14. Now 14 would give me a red ARF, which would affect the cab checks. How big is it? It's only a 1 point, so I think I'm better off throwing the strength points in. But that kind of decision is not trivial, and what you actually might be doing, that 20 points might not actually be getting me an odds shift. I think it's likely to. That's a lot of points. And I'm not hitting a very big unit here. It's 26 points, so I'm going to just throw the full strength in. But there's this kind of decision making of, well, am I better off throwing the infantry in to fight? And in some cases, you don't have the option. You might be going over icky terrain hex sides where there's a limited number of stacking points you can send in or whatever. In which case, it's fine, but it's like, I don't know. It's that extra decision point that I have to make at this moment. Later on, as I get more used to the game, I'll be making that decision by a rule of thumb more than anything else of, I'm just never going to use just the artillery, But again, that is probably watering down the realism aspect that they're trying to present in this, where there might be a slight advantage to me using just the artillery from a unit instead of that. But it's such minor optimization, screw it, I don't think it's that big a deal. But that's the thing. All of these little modifiers aren't that big a deal. Almost all. Stuff like, I'd throw that unit in, but I get a +5 to the die roll. Well, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big thing for, throwing units in that are uncoordinated. But I much prefer a system where I can just see what the impact of throwing those extra units is in sort of one composite value and not have to overanalyze what's going to happen. I don't want to do that. I know there are some people who, get their rocks off doing that. That's fine. Like for me, I remember always looking at Terrible Swift Sword is the example that I always point to here, where I would bring guys in who, some of them were wargamers, some of them weren't. But there were just optimal columns. And the same thing with CWB. There are optimal columns that you want to fire on. And yes, throwing more firepower in is better, but, if you can get on the 3 to 4 column in 2 different hexes, that's better than getting on the 5 to 6 and the 1 to 2 on those 2 hexes, right? Just knowing stuff like that, just seeing that, and it was just obvious to me, and some of the guys I was playing against, just didn't see that. It's kind of the same kind of thing. But the analysis was instantaneous for me. And that's the thing. If the analysis is instantaneous for you for this kind of game, hey, I totally get why you're playing it. If I could do this instantaneously, and an AI could, There's no question of that. But I can't to determine which one has the better odds. When I look at a game and say the AI is able to make better decisions than I can in it, I got a problem because, well, it's a game designed for an AI, not for me, right? I don't mean some kind of modern, LLM with a neural network backing it up or anything like that. I'm talking about very simple rules. It just does the calculations, determines which one, it's just odds chart calculation. It's very easy to write the coding for that. It's not the kind of AI that we're talking about today. It's stuff that, could have been done back in the 50s. I may find out that I did things badly. I am allowed one calculator check. I have 170 strength points attacking versus 26. Not familiar enough with the odds chart to avoid this. That gets me to 6.5 to 1. There is nothing special about that. Which means I'm going to change that to 150 divided by 26. And this one I have to stick with, because I took 20 off to get a red artillery in there, right? This is the optimization you're doing here. And that gets me over 5 to 1, so I'm good. So I'll have that bonus on the cab test for the attack. Now, we go through the whole list of combat modifiers, and we got no terrain issues here, but we do have some other things. This doesn't apply. Do I have a flank attack? No, everybody's attacking from the front, but I am attacking from 3 hexes, so there's a -3. But there's a +4 for my LLC, which brings it to +1. I didn't take this. I don't think this applies. So I got a +1 to the die roll on the 5 to 1. And we get a shitty roll. That's going to be a +6 versus a hit and a -9. We write that down. It would help if now -9 is bad. I mean, this was a 5 to 1 attack. The French have to take their hit first, which means they're going to retreat from this hex. They take the automatic hit, and now they're at -9, and they may have some additional stuff. I'm on the wrong table. Well, not exactly. I'm on the wrong column. I don't remember what my ARF was. I think it was 12 points. So that's -2. So I'm at -11. There was a red. -12. Is it hot? Nope. Okay. So the French unit is at a -12. It automatically is hit for another step. This doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And I have to retreat. Fun part, I start scanning through the counters. I'm able to find this because there's a blank space next to it. If I had things numbered by their actual unit number, I probably could find it almost as easily in my counter trays if I have them distributed enough. This is not a hard find, but I just wanted to point this out. And now I take this out, I put it here, I replace it with that, and then I fall back. Oops. No, this is the wrong unit. Is that right? Yeah, that has taken one. So this is the 22 DI, so I actually have to search again. So I start that search process again. I'll let you see it this time. There it is. Again, not a hard thing. 2 steps of losses, so I have one of these, wrong side, on here. to indicate that I can't do any combat or fire my artillery even against units. Worse than that, it's for 2 full turns. The game's going to be over by the time this guy recovers from that hit. Just because this is a tiny scenario, right? Or at least I think it is. I don't know. I have to open all my books. I needed my little file. Everything that I use as a bookmark, I'm trying to clear enough space that I can operate. That's going to be a continuous problem, although I won't have to deal with this very soon. Or once I go to the big map. And why did I need to be there? I don't remember. I don't know. I had some wording about this. Anyway, that's how much I did for this one unit, right? Now I have to do that for all the German units as well. Again, is it absolutely horrible? Not on a little map like this. But I am just not seeing being able to cope with this on the big map, especially if it stays hot. It is supposed to cool off fairly soon, and I may be I may not do the remaining learning scenarios. I feel like I said, I felt like I was getting comfortable when I walked into this one, and then I found that LOC thing, but that had to do with me getting the wrong. Oh, by the way, if I had screwed up this counter and put the wrong counter in, that would be a very difficult to repair situation. Like at some later point, I would have 2 copies of one unit on there and none of another. That's just an issue. I mean, the Anzio style replace counters with other counters. I think it's a bad decision to make games where you have to have replacement counters for hits. Try to keep things down to 2 steps or some other kind of mechanic. Again, the strength points aren't changing all that much. Do something kind of generic. Hey, you lose 1 or 2 strength points off a unit or whatever for the first step loss. I've seen games that handle that kind of thing. Having to replace counters, that's a fucking horrible solution. And there aren't a lot of games that do it. I've just happened to have the bad luck to run into a couple of them in a row. And no, they're not both by the same company. But again, it's this, fuck you, man, players. I don't care what you have to deal with. And maybe that's a result of so much of playtesting happening on Vassal these days. If playtesting is being done electronically, you're testing not the game that you're shipping to people. The game you're shipping to people is a physical copy. That's where your focus should be. If you're selling electronic games, don't give me all the counters and maps and everything. Make it a much cheaper product. I mean, you can have the same overhead and everything on it. Just make it cheaper. I won't buy it. I like physical games. That's why I play war games. I don't play them to play on a computer. If I want to play on a computer, I play a computer game. But I get why people would want to play something like this on the computer. But it should be tested rigorously with the physical components. And if people come back and say, yeah, the Vassal experience was so much better, rethink what you're selling. I don't know. Fuck. Anyway, let me get to the Germans. Avoid rolling all those morale checks or whatever for the Germans. I still have the number there. That's why it's important that I write it down, because especially doing video where I babble on and on. What would be really helpful? The historical stuff's great. I'm all for that. But also give me at least a couple of sentences on why this learning scenario, why I should be playing this learning scenario. So far I've needed it just to get used to the mechanisms of play. But I look at this next one and I'm like, oh, another fortress attack. Fuck, I don't care about that. Is this going to teach me something interesting? Is this going to teach me something interesting? What is it? Now this one's no longer, these are no longer learning scenarios. Okay. Well, it happened to have given me just the right number. There's one more, and I just don't see that I need it. Maybe I should look it over. I was saying to myself, I'm going to discard and stop because this is the last learning scenario. Well, before I realized this was the last one, I was going to just, after this learning scenario, I was going to go up and start playing the campaign. Knowing that there's only one more, I think I'm still on that. I simply don't see the point to another assault scenario, another fortress siege. Just don't see it. You know, I've done a couple of those. I've done this. I feel comfortable enough with these mechanisms. Not comfortable enough to be happy playing, but comfortable enough that I can dive into the campaign as I usually do without having to deal with all kind of learning scenarios. I'm glad they're here. They've helped. Most games I'm like, I don't want to play a tiny little scenario. I think I get it. This one I think I got the rules all along. It was a matter of looking up the special cases and dealing with all the modifiers, and I know I'm never gonna be able to do that competently. I'm just not. It's not my taste. All right. I guess we dive in and switch pipes again. This one's got wood in it, I know. Importantly, the 2 units, and these could have I could have gotten unlucky here and had 2 hits on them, and I guess I lose the game if that's the case, because I would not be capable of following. I don't know. You know, it says here, let's see the withdrawal. They have to withdraw with a minimum step total of 10, 7.82. I think I could take a step off something else. As it is, same unit type and unit ranking. Okay. Yeah, I would have to take the hit on something else. As it is, I'm losing an extra step, assuming the French don't attack me. I've advanced the unit from each. We keep the LLCs in place. They are going to affect things. I don't know what for. I don't think Defender LLCs matter. Oh, they do. And they're not as nasty. Okay, fair enough. Basically, the Germans are going to be operating on LLC everywhere, so I can actually kind of take those counters off and just keep one as a reminder. That's going to put me on the French turn. I've done enough here, because I'm going to have to think about the French counterattacks, because right now they're in a position where if they leave things as they are, they lose the game. This is turn... Wait. This turn 18 was possible Germans could have come in. French are coming in. Let's put this here to remind me. And I'm going to break. My battery needs to recharge. My mind needs to settle back down. I have the feeling that I'm going to be able to attack with one unit and then stop for a while with the campaign game 2. I don't know how I'm going to cope with that. I mean, I won't be babbling as much, I hope. And I'll come back and try to, I'll try to get larger chunks done than just, oh, I attacked a hex. How exciting. So here we are, first of the French turns in the game. Now, hey, look at the admin. There's nothing too exciting there that I can do. I could dig in when I get down to the combat phase, as long as I don't fight or whatever. But, and that might be useful in a place like here and here. But I do need to regain one of these hexes. And one of the problems is this guy's got no combat capability for a while, so that's a problem for him. I can shift things around. He is part of a corps, though. Means he needs to kind of stick around this unit to keep this unit capable of fighting effectively. This is a headquarters, no biggie there. One thing that I may want to consider is, hey, do I want to do battery fire? I have like some pretty good firing capabilities, and just shoot up the Germans. If this was a longer line, that would definitely be a considerable thing, like a longer game or whatever, causing them attrition. Right now, the only place that matters for attrition in this is if I could, you know, knock out 2 steps from this stack. Well, I can't do that, so screw that. I could have set myself up closer so that the Germans, a little bit further forward, so that the Germans had a harder time taking the hexes they took. That probably would have been a brighter idea. I had that option in this. But instead, we got this turn and 2 more. I think I'm going to focus on concentrating firepower with barrages and try to take this hex back. We'll see how that works. Barrages come first. Problem, and some of why these training scenarios are good, is that they're teaching me, yeah, do I want a barrage or do I want to just, you know, do regular combat and shit like that? And I could just analyze it, but sometimes it, you know, it feels better to just play things out and get a feel for the game. If I analyze things too much, quite often they don't stick in quite the same way. I do a little bit as I'm playing it out. I could get a 30-point shot against those 3 units. That's not bad, to tell you the truth. It doesn't quite get me to the 32 level. It gets me some chance of hurting things. Another option would be to throw in more. I said 30 there. So 44, 54, 66, 70. But it's only against 1 unit. So I could get way up here where I'm almost, you know, assured to at least force a cab roll. The problem is, this is the only hex in which I can throw all kinds of stuff into. I think I'm going to go up here, and we'll see what other things I do. I do have to pull some counters to mark the stacks that I fire with. I'm using the prep barrage launched for that. That's what I should use. I think I screwed up and used those before when I should have been using these declared ABF assaults. It's okay. You know, I did the right thing when I played it. I just have to get used to which counters I need to use. There are a lot of different little markers and stuff in this. And they look and act kind of similar. A whole hell of a lot of this. I'm not looking at, I didn't look at the modifiers beforehand. I'm looking at that 30 points. None of these apply. LLC gives you a penalty. It makes sense. But so does ammo shortages as time goes on. French and Belgian ABU is launched with more than 1 unit. Yeah, unfortunately. So I've got a +1 there. I don't think there's any cav here. There is a German Har with infantry. So that is going, this unit is going to be hit differently than anything else, which I kind of don't like. And this is an ABU, not an ABF. So I've got a +1 or a +4, depending on the unit. I still only use 1 die roll. We have this, that's a nice roll. That's a 2 plus 4 is a 6, which gets us an O +3. I'm going to roll that O +3 first. I don't know. I'm not LOC yet, if that's an issue. This is a big ARF, so it's at -2. Jesus. I gotta remember, I'm on the 6 column for this one, or no, yeah, I'm on the 6 column, or the 6 row for this one, but then I gotta refigure. Did I have any red artillery? I don't think so. It's not hot. Okay, so we're looking at a -2 to his 10, or to his 12, which drops to a 10, and he's fine. Now we look at the others, and they're going to be a 4 roll, which is going to be an O plus 1. 6 should have been an O plus 3. Why did I end up... I survived anyway, so it's not really an issue. Okay. What did I say? O plus 1? Which means these guys are a 12 and a 13. That was already calculated in. I'm looking at the cab here. These don't stay. I hope I removed those. I don't remember now. Okay, so we've got a -2 to that +3, which means we've got a +1. So it's like a 12 and a 13, I think. And it looks like the bottom guy gets hit. Same kind of puzzling. These can only hit this, so I want to throw them at that. And that's a 10-24. Okay, 24 is not good over here. Another 2 points and I get to the 26 column. But then I'd only have 12, 26. Yeah, that works out okay. So let's get to the 26 column. I'm going to throw the top unit into here and there. I'm just showing you the kind of firepower splitting that's very similar to what I mentioned in TSS, but I don't have the comfort. Like in TSS, there was a limit to how much firepower you could throw out of a given hex side. Same thing with CWB, essentially. You could fire an A strength unit, which is like 4 fire points out of each hex. So, if I'm recalling correctly. So you know, there weren't a lot of options. Here there's a lot of options because of these big numbers, where it's like, I really have to like fiddle around and study the chart for each shot, which feels kind of like, again, that same problem that I had, where I would see other players struggling to decide what they wanted to fire, whereas for me, in those games that I listed, that decision was just a rule of thumb that was really trivial to make. You know, I want to get on this column, 3 to 4 column or whatever. And here, I'm not able to make that decision. This column is, you know, there's a lot of differentiation, but I'm doing all this little twiddling, you know, like firing this artillery into there along with these guys, just because these two then can get into this at the 26 column, and just all this shit that has to be done. And I'm not even taking into account the terrain, which probably has an effect, although I don't see it. Well, there it is. Yeah, so there's a +2 for the broken terrain to the initial die roll. I really wasn't paying any attention to these, but I didn't need to. I kind of lost sight of what I was trying to do, which is launch an attack on this. So these guys might have wanted to shift over or something, but now they can't because I fired a prep barrage with them. I got no effects out of any of it. All I've gotten is one step total out of that whole firepower. I'm not going to do any more prep barrage. So we get into the movement phase. I got to worry about this being turn 18. I'm getting some French units in A12. No. AI12 is over here. He's not going to be able to move anywhere. But that's how life is. I'm also not sure where I'm allowed to try to entrench. Maybe I shouldn't have fired, you know. Maybe I should have looked up that rule before I decided on that. Oopsie. I may have done okay anyway. As I start to look at these two units, I'm like, fuck, I don't think I can attack this and take it. I only have 45 strength points. And I am facing some really big units. 67, which sounds like I'd be looking at maybe as bad as 1 to 2, right? Sounds like that's what it's going to be. Because there's no 1 to 1.5, even though there's a 1.5 to 1. So if I'm over here, I'm seeing results I don't like. Like, I'm going to have to get pretty low to even get even, and I'm risking more units. So I don't want to make that attack, which probably means I want to launch more firepower. Which looks like only 16 into this hex, because I don't think I'm allowed to do no combat and ABU. Cool. It says it right on the counter. I can read that without zoom if I kind of tilt and use the full power of my reading glasses part. So what did I say it was? Something like 16. So a 16 on the bombardment. And we're going to do, I got 2 more markers, but I'll just put this one here. Remember that there's one there. 16's not great, but I might as well. Although maybe I should be entrenching, but these are not important hexes particularly. 16 in clear terrain. I get a +1 because I got stupid shit. I don't know what's in there. I don't want to look. I think it's fine. And that's a 9. That's not going to hit shit. So that's my firepower. Now I go look up the fortification rules and see if I screwed myself out of fortification because I barraged. I don't think I did. I think I'm allowed to do both. I can't dig these guns in, but everything else can try to. And here I have to make my decision of what's most important. This is my most important space. So what I'm going to be doing, I do get a penalty. That makes it more likely to fail. I think this is not lowland. So I'm looking at a -8. -2. Yeah, I'm looking at like a -2 here. And it's done on a per unit basis. So let's do that first unit. He needs an 11 to dig in. And he succeeds. And the guy above him, I think, needs a 12. No, a 10. What? Okay. He does not. So I have failed, and that means no more attempts, but I do get some kind of field works, which I don't have punched out yet, on the unit below in that space. And now the French can't try to dig in anymore. Forgot this guy. AI 12. Now, what's my special scenario rule here? During the movement phase at the time, but this is only game turn 17. So only the French units that came in last turn could have come in. Ooh, I had a couple of replacement points, and I don't even remember seeing when I could have absorbed them. Replacement absorption. Uh-oh. Let's go look up that rule. Let's try not to spill counters all over the place as I try to cope with all of this shit. Now I'm lost. Okay. This guy goes in AI 12. He should be there already. And that is this hex, or is this a J? That's a J. AI 12 is here. Okay. And actually, if these guys were back a hex, he would be supporting those, which he's not right now. So now what am I looking up? I'm looking up rule 14.1, replacement absorption. I don't know if I'm able to do this because I did a lot of stuff. Let's just try to make sure. Now, we actually should have had a third one. I wouldn't have been able to get any of these in last turn, I think. I don't know. During optional, the active player chooses which units. They must not have gained any replacements last game turn. Must have done nothing during the barrage phase. Okay, so I fucked up. So no reinforcements for the French. I can't do anything in the combat phase either, so I couldn't dig in or anything. So that's a consideration. If I want to grow steps, I've got a problem. The other thing, I took the barrages off. This thing dropped down by 1, and now I think we're on turn 19, and we pause there for the Germans. And you can see, I've got like, what? About 20 counters per side, somewhere in that range. And just working through all these steps, it's taking me forever, and I just don't feel like I'm getting much of a story out of all that work. I'm getting a lot of the story, as far as I'm concerned about this game, is I had to look up modifiers and roll dice and look them up on the table. That's not the story I want. I want the story of, the combat that's happening. I can discern that if I work real hard, but the game mechanisms are getting in the way, not only of being able to play effectively and comfortably, but of enjoying any kind of narrative that's coming out of it. I'm too much fiddling around with this stuff. Will that clear up? I don't know. I really don't know. This just feels extreme. Of course, when I was like 9 or 10, around there, and first, maybe playing some of these games, maybe a little older than that, say 11, I was screwing shit up like this too, with much, much simpler games. And I've gotten to the point where that kind of that kind of understanding of the game, like I totally didn't understand, the idea of multi-hex combat in sort of your standard operational type game. I totally didn't get it. I was adding up all along the line and doing one roll for the whole damn thing, in like Napoleon's Art of War. It made it allow really silly. But I don't feel like I'm fucking up on that kind of level. I feel like I'm fucking, and stuff like understanding how to utilize zones and stuff. It took some experience, but it also took like some kind of hints, right? I had a book that gave me hints about how to play these war games, and I think Dunnigan was involved in it. It's not the most famous of his wargaming books. I feel like it was called like the Complete Wargame Manual or something like that. It just looks at everything. I even looked at like D&D and stuff. I feel like something like this, I'm just never going to absorb all the stuff and be able to make those decisions clearly. And there is absolutely no way, and this is the problem with Summerstorm, there is no way that I'm going to get the narrative if I'm having to look through lists of modifiers and on a complex chart for so many different things. And I think I can very clearly say, no matter what, this is not my kind of game. This is something I play this once. I don't look at the next game in the series that I was interested in, originally. Nah, this is and the only thing is, do I want to fiddle around on that big board? I set it all up. I taped it down. It's going to be cool weather, so I'll probably give it a shot. But I'm almost certain I'm not going to make it through. Like we can see the game record track. There's only 23 turns to the whole thing, right? which seems a little, this is less than I expected, to be honest. I expected it would go almost to October. This goes to the 29th. Okay, it goes to the Battle of the Marne, basically. And then it stops there. Huh. Sounds like Paris is going to be damn hard to get. That's what we're looking at. It doesn't, doesn't look all that much worse than, maybe because the map's at a different scale. Okay. So that was the French turn. I got 2 more turns to go. I don't expect to learn much here, but what the hell? Let's see what happens. Looks like the Germans are going to win this one. Why? Because the French counterattacks have been poorly handled, probably. I do have to withdraw, and then I have a replacement over here, but it's just a headquarters replacement. I don't even know if that does a damn thing. So Van Heusen gets replaced by Von M&M. I wonder what this number in the middle of here is. That's interesting. I never really looked at that. I don't see any difference between the two. Why am I replacing? But now I'm curious what the fuck that number is. That's not a headquarters. Here's one. Wait. Oh, air squadrons. That's why I don't recognize it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to add the fog of war. That's for sure. I don't know. I'm really debating whether it's even worth it. I can clearly see what I don't like about this game, and that I'm going to continue not liking it. And I think it's time for me to grab a different rule book and start reading it. Unfortunately, I grabbed a novel and started reading it. But yeah, I don't see going through the effort of punching all the counters and setting it up for that experience. Right then. Not thrilled. I don't know. I kind of decided what I'm going to do next. The next big thing. Not huge, but whatever. And there's a fair amount of rules to it. I don't know. All right. Let's start with Germans, turn 19. 2 more turns left. And, I'm sitting on the victory conditions right now, but it would behoove me if I can figure out a way to gain more. The problem is I'm losing a couple of units, yes, I'm getting a couple. One of them has a special scenario roll. Fuck. That's not it. 5. Always subject to regrouping. The fuck does that even mean? And it appears with movement factors. Oh, that's the term for the penalty for that unit not being near its buddies, and it won't be near its buddies, so it's always subject. Feels like the wrong thing. It feels like regrouping should be like something to do with grouping happening again. It should be called something like core adjacency or something. I don't know. Because of the name, I feel like I kind of have to look at 9411. I'm sure this is what it is, though. And it's funny, it's not called that under the roll. I would have been bothered when reading the rules if I saw attacking infantry units belonging to the same corps unless autonomous will get an unfavorable modifier. I would have seen, if that had called it regrouping, I would have said, what the fuck? It's just, I don't know what's going on. This may be a language issue or something, but it just adds to that sort of massive weight of problems that I just have with this whole thing. I'm going to take these off. All the German units are impacted by it, pretty much, at this range. Nobody behind that range is able to attack, and I just have to remember them. Interesting, I just noticed this. This looks like it says kilometers on it. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I wonder if each movement point is a kilometer. Doesn't make sense because it differs by the terrain type. It's movement points, it's not kilometers. What the fuck? We got a KM, a meaning to that. Of course, not everything's 3 letters if it's in there. HIJ, no, I don't see it. Yeah, it's fucking weird. Of course, the big question is what I want to do with my Germans. Do I want to just barrage with them? Do I want to try to gain a hex? I don't know. I'm kind of in a risky position, but I got to take these off the line. I've got shit here. When I walk away from the game, I'm thinking, oh, it's so terrible that I'm not able to play on the big map. I hate the idea of packing it up that way. When I'm down here actually facing the damn thing, I'm like, oh, fuck, I just want to be over. So SSR 5 appears in AM 17, AM 16, or 15. And there's just so much that's bad. 17, 16, 15 down to here with a shit ton of movement points. Okay. And is this the unit? It's not subject to regrouping. Regrouping, yeah. And this other one looks like AI 17, not AJ. Looks like an AI to me. I don't know why. Just way up here. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Now, the game ends on turn 20. The French get reinforcements on turn 20. They can't use them. Like, they serve absolutely no purpose in this game. This is not the first time I've seen this kind of thing. Why are you doing this to me? It leads me to wonder, am I doing the wrong thing? Of course, look here. Okay. SSR 7. On game turn 20, I'm not allowed to do FOMs, and all units have movement factors divided by 2. I feel like MF is wrong too. This rulebook will fall apart if I play the whole damn thing. I can tell it. Do we have MF? Yeah, it is movement factors. I'm surprised. I would think that would say MOF or MFA or something like that, given how they've done the rest of these. So I'm going to primarily barrage with the Germans because I don't really want to do much. I'm holding my 2 hexes. Next turn, if I have to take a hex back, I can try. I don't know. Part of me just wants to quit now. I just don't fucking want to play this. Did was prep barrages. I forgot about the LLC modifier. I ended up hitting 1 French unit for a step loss. I'm not worried about it. I don't give a shit. That goes to movement. I got to move this guy off the map and bring these guys in. By launching those barrages, I negated my opportunity to build entrenchments, but fuck it. I don't give a shit. I really just don't care. That's the problem. I just don't care about that. That'll put it on the French side. I don't know. I don't care about them either. I just don't want to fucking play. Alright. Should I stop or should I play some French? I guess I should try to play some French. So trying to cross this shit is a plus 12. That doesn't sound like fun. Trying to bomb it out of the way isn't going to work. I'm holding 2 of the key locations, but I got to get one of these back. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I can bring this up as a reinforcement. I don't remember how I'm allowed to replace units. 14.1. We look up a roll again. We're constantly looking up these rolls. Because it just... we are allowed to move and pick up forces. So that's of some interest. We would be allowed to pick up 1 with this. This guy has hits against him. We could pick up 1 with him. I got like 3 replacements. Could have done him earlier, but I didn't. What the fuck? I guess we just try to soften the Germans up again. I don't see an easy way of attacking. It's just no fun. Managed to kill a couple of steps of Germans with our bombardments. We don't have any entrenchments left to go. I don't think I can replace to the cav. I did replace the 2 units that I could. I don't know where he was, what level of damage he was. He just fell off. I don't know. Put him at full strength. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't to begin with. He wasn't to begin with, so he definitely is still not at full strength. These go away, and we stop again because we've done more than I wanted to. I want to. We've played this game more than I want to, in a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, I would rather do nothing than keep playing. I haven't decided if I'm, going to play the last turn of this scenario, to tell you the truth. I don't see much value to it, but on the other hand, it's all set up and everything. Whatever. Like, I just have no desire anymore whatsoever. I can tell I am not going to enjoy a damn thing about this game anymore. Evening is falling. Actually, I was sitting out on the porch reading, getting to a chapter's end, and then starting I think it was by the time I started the rules to what I'm aiming for as the next kind of bigger thing. I got a tiny thing lined up and maybe have to do more. I ended up, Turkey was bringing its chicks by, a whole bunch of chicks, and it was kind of cute to watch. But then a deer came running up, and the mother turkey just kind of spreads her tail, and the deer is just like completely scared by this. They stared at each other for a moment before the turkey spread her tail, and but then when the deer saw that, it was just like whoop, boing, right back down the hill. It's funny. Okay, so here we are, last turn of the game. I think the Germans are going to try to entrench, and I don't know what else I'm going to do, but it seems to me that entrenching seems like a good idea. The problem with it is that in order to even try entrenching, I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense, because in order to even try entrenching, I have to forego firing artillery. Now, maybe I can get to a good table and entrench 1 unit or something like that, but yeah. Now, well, no, that's not true. That's not true. Wait, no. Now I can't remember. And that's not entrenchment that I'm thinking of there. I think maybe I can entrench with infantry if I fire, just not with artillery. Is that what it was? I can't remember. I can't hold this thing in my head. And I should just quit. I should just quit at this point. Like, I don't even know. I can't find the rule now. I'm on Abus, I'm on combat. Entrenchments before combat, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, I'm not seeing it here. Well, let's just flip through the rules back and forth, because I can't remember where the fuck anything is in this. There we go. Okay, yeah, so the infantry can try, but it has a penalty if it fired. So that's kind of a negative for me. But yeah, I'm gonna just shoot guns and try to entrench. I don't know why I didn't do it last time. I probably thought you can't do it. Be cool if, like, I'm gonna shift between the two units and try to entrench one unit, then the other, one unit, then the other, whatever. I don't know. I gotta remember I got this penalty too. I just really don't care. About the right time that I normally go out for my sunset walk, which is up the hill. But I'm not seeing any signs of color reflected here. Usually there's some pretty color on this side if there's anything interesting. So I decided, screw that, man. Not gonna do it. But yeah, this is getting close to that time. But instead, I'll play some of this. The rest of this week I've been going out every day, every night, to go sit on a log for, I don't know, like 5 minutes. Catch part of the sunset. I can't sit for much longer. All right, anyway, enough of that. Artillery is getting ugly. So I've got the LLC here. I was looking at like a 34 table fire, or a 34 column fire. That goes up to 9. But I'm looking at +7 for these. I still don't think that there's anything else I particularly want to do. The French are going to obviously, go all out on an assault and try to take one of these hexes. But, yeah, +7's not good. And there's nothing else going on. Except I roll awesome. So that gets me an 8. So I get actually some checks on this. Basically nothing but optimal rolls on my fire. Not necessarily on the cabs, but the French did manage to lose 2 steps. I marked those units so they're not allowed to attack anymore. That's probably the biggest thing about them. They're prohibited from attacking on the last turn of the game. So they're not going to, I don't think they're going to be able to gain a hex. Now I'm allowed to move. Now, only this guy's allowed to move. I'm going to get him in here if there's room for him, because there's nothing else he can really do. And then I get these others here. Now I got a special rule, again, fuck, SSR 6. It has 25 movement points and comes in somewhere, and it's not subject to regrouping either. It wouldn't be anyway. It's not allowed to attack. Oh yeah, it would be with the, yeah, it would be. Okay. And I guess kind of the exciting thing is this replaces this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. To absolutely no effect. Now, I hate this. I understand, I guess, there's sort of this feeling some people have of like, oh, it's important to have the names of the particular leader or whatever in play. I don't know. Maybe I care in a tactical battlefield, in gunpowder era or something, if a leader is dead and I have to replace him or something along those lines. Here, I'm just swapping one headquarters out for another with the exact same values. You know what? Don't give me the leader's name. You know? Give me a note somewhere that says when that switched over. Don't make me fucking replace a counter with a counter that's exactly like it. They are exactly the same counter. There is no difference. Is there a difference on the back side? Yeah, there's like a color difference that I think is an indication that there was a... Oh, because this guy can't flip. The flipping over, yeah, so it's actually not even a misprint. Flipping over just is like after a certain turn, the German armies stop having, or the Germans stop having their army aspect. That's here on turn 22. The game only goes to turn 23. Was it really necessary for me to have that rule about the German army command control numbers and whatnot? I don't know. I really don't know. You know, again, how about a little bit more abstraction? How about we don't worry about something that's a minor effect for one turn? Really? I don't know. Again, I mean, I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of shit that I'm having to deal with. And I read this rule and remembered it, and it only actually takes effect, well wait, it's two turns, right? German command range restriction ends, flip German headquarters. There's 2 turns that's in effect. Is it that big a deal? I don't know. I just don't know. Like, if the game went further than that, you know, if it happened like late in the game, or relatively late in the game, say a quarter of the game was left or something, yeah, I guess. But it just feels like, first of all, the Germans aren't even going to be on the offensive in that period. Of course, it does affect what kind of line of communication they have, conceivably. But like, you've spent the entire game trying to keep their armies together, and now, for 4 days, you don't care anymore. But much more to the point, it makes absolutely no sense to me to replace a counter with another counter just to have a different name on the counter. Don't put the name, you know? Or have a little asterisk and say after... And there is a little asterisk on here. I don't know why. Oh, that little dot's to remind me it's a counter that replaces another counter. Yeah, okay. I remember that rule too. If that's the only thing it's used for, is to replace counters that are exactly the same, screw that. Screw that. You know? I mean, I guess there are some people, again, who, you know, are going to like jerk off to the fact that we've changed the German leadership, you know, or that's really important to them. That general changed for another general who has the exact same command capabilities. Unit I had just up here, it's allowed to do that. It has a shit ton of movement points, but I don't have anything to do with them. This one's more problematic. I can't put that in this hex because all the units in that hex fired, so they can't do anything. And unfortunately, it's part of this command, and I don't remember where that matters. Is it in a cab? Strangely enough, I think units being near each other does not matter for the cab. So yeah, I'll just slap him over here, and I'll do fortification attempts, which... There we go, there's my modifiers. So I have to make a cab to succeed. Oh, I can do a group effect. I forgot about that. Throw everybody under it. That's actually not bad, except if I have lower cabs in a place. Okay, well, we'll do that. Something interesting, maybe no, that's... A 1-step loss. I found this no combat marker under this entire stack. I don't know what it's for. Fuck it. It didn't make any sense where it was. It's on my blue thing. I probably thought I put it on top of a unit, but I don't see a damaged unit. Anyway, I succeeded in one. Right now, the modifiers are an infantry that didn't have that acted, so that's -3. German or Belgian -8. But I get a +6, so I'm only at -2, which puts me at a 12. I succeeded at one. I'm going for another one. I'm rolling individual units because I want to get some fortifications if I can. And that one fails, so we are no longer fortifying. There are no German replacement points. The French, at some point in their turn, get another replacement point. I have units marked as having received replacement points somewhere, didn't I? Did I not? Oh, I didn't put the markers on them. Yeah, I didn't put the markers on them, but it's okay. It doesn't really make a damn bit of difference because whatever I add is at the end of the game after whatever the French can do. So let's give the French one more turn. I mean, part of me wants to just run away now. You know, as always, I want to stop playing this thing. I want to be done with it. And much as the map is pretty and everything, the big map and the texture is beautiful. I was thinking about showing it again and touching it and feeling it up. I don't think I'll do that. Just take my word for it. Look at the intro where I showed that whole map. It is a really lovely thing, and honestly, the components throughout in this game are fantastic. Other than, you know, the amount of complexity of the information on a counter and what that represents in terms of the mechanics of the game and how you know, painful it is to play the game because of all of that. But those pieces of information could be present and could be factored into something that's a lot smoother playing. This is just... And here's the thing. You know, I can't see playing this game not on Vassal. I don't play games on Vassal, so I don't know. But, like, I can see where Vassal would incredibly improve the experience because, you know, counters, all these weird little informational counters would just appear, you know, by the rules. I wouldn't have to actually manually be trying to follow all the modifications and everything. It would all just be factored in. It's a computer game essentially at that point. But, or at least computer assisted. But then what a shame, you know, to have made such fantastic components, really across the board, and make a game that is, I think, unplayable in its physical version. I mean, and then there's these tiny scenarios, and this is something I wanted to touch on. I'll try to get to it in the review part too. These tiny scenarios which, you know, oh, I'm trying to take one hex before 4 turns go by or whatever. It feels like a fucking squad leader or a panzer leader type scenario, you know, where it's completely unimportant to me, right? The only reason was playing these, well, the only reason I would be playing these if I didn't get it as a review copy, right, was to learn it and get ready for the big game. Well, I've learned enough about it that I'm going to hate it no matter what. You know, this is just way too much for me. Let's see if the French can do anything. As I just feel like every time I face this game, I've got to just let off steam about it. That's because it's just such a horrible design, in my opinion. It's way too fiddly. To this French phase, and let's give them another replacement that they can't use. They can't do them any good. My goal here is simply throw everything I can against these 2 hexes. As horrible, like nobody would do this. Again, I'm looking at these stupid squad leader style victory conditions where I have to take hex I have to take one of these 2 hexes before the game ends, and it does not matter what I waste trying to do it. It doesn't matter at all, and it just doesn't feel like a reasonable game to me because of that. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing a war game when I'm doing that. I feel like I'm, I don't know what. I'm just aiming at a singular goal that's absolutely out of context of everything that would be going on. And it's okay for the learning scenarios if that's all they are, but it means that I gotta play the big game or nothing to get enjoyment out of it, and these things are not gonna give me the enjoyment that I want, no matter what, for their size and scope and all that. And these are taxing me more than I want. Period. I can see that playing the main game would just be a bunch of these all over the place happening at once, with all the fucking effort involved in dealing with, these huge lists of modifiers, and then the tracing and writing down and everything, and getting results that are no more expressive to me than those that I get out of an OCS game, And I'm not shipping supplies around or anything like that, which feels kind of important. Yeah. Not that I'd want to add more to this. I want to take a lot away from this game. I want it to be much, much simpler. But, its design purpose is to not be simple, is to throw everything and the kitchen sink in there. Consideration is anything that I throw in with these prep barrages, and I got to get these markers off here. I can't do it right now. I can't do it with just one hand. And if I do any kind of prep barrages, I'm basically taking a unit out of the eventual final assault. It might work out fine on the odds. I don't know. But my way of looking at it is I'm just going to try to direct everything I can into those assaults and screw prep barrage and all that, because it doesn't actually give me an advantage on the attack or anything. Now compare this to something like La Grande Guerre, where you have a prep fire. It's built in. It's part of the attack, essentially. And you keep using the same artillery for both the prep fire and for the fire within rounds and whatnot. Now, obviously, it's a strategic game. It's a different scale and everything. But, the fact that I do a prep barrage or I support the attack, it just doesn't feel right. But maybe for this period, it is right. I don't know. It doesn't feel like what I'm used to in World War I, which is you have an opening fire, but then you continue the barrage somewhere. It would those guns would still be supporting the attack, and that is not the way this system works. You either, reduce a couple of units, which might actually be more sensible or whatever. Like, artillery fire can cause a lot of step losses, but those step losses, aren't going to affect whether or not you're going to get that hex. But they might affect the odds you get on here. And again, the analysis, I don't want to deal with it. It's just, trying to analyze it out and figure out, can I get some kind of slight optimization by prep firing instead of just throwing everything in? I think not. So I'm going with an uninformed rule of thumb here, which I hate, which is just let's try to assault with as much as we can. To keep units together, I had to shift everything from here into there. This thing, I don't know where it's going. It's part of this unit. Yeah, actually, it would have been fine being in there. So if it's stronger, I'll shift that in. I don't know. Again, because nothing happens, we're at the edge of the game, and at the edge of the time of the scenario. I'm not holding this. I'm running away. I'm forcing units into there. I'm just, units are moving out of the way where they wouldn't be, just to clear them off of there. Again, not what you would do if you had more turns coming. You don't. So, like those ASL scenarios, fuck it. I just, concentrate on what I need to do to win the scenario, and the other stuff, I don't care what stupid things I'm doing. It's not like I have to hold terrain or anything like that. Obviously, I would need to hold this, but I don't care about it. Let me see what I have here. I have 3, 6, 9. I could actually put this in, but I can't seem to find. I think that unit may... That unit does not have any special rules on it that I know of. Maybe it's got a special rule in here in the rule book, but I doubt it. That would cause me, I think, more problems to add it into the battle, because adding it into the battle... Oh, fuck. I forgot about that. Oh, before game turn 18. I'm okay there. What do we got here? We got eye-catching uniforms. I haven't been doing attacks with the French, so that's fine. This is the thing. This +5 here. I don't want to deal with that. Like, that's pretty bad. I don't... Like, if I had a lot of units that were orphaned, that would be fine, but I don't. Everything is okay with its core, except this fucking guy. Now, this guy, could he have gotten out of there? I don't remember where he was. He might have been here 12. Yeah, then he'd get that penalty, but I don't think that matters. I think that's just cab. 22, 32. Yeah, I can't. I could force march or something, but I think I'm not allowed to this turn. I think there was a special rule on that. So this is what I'm going to do. All these attacking this attacking that. I don't have any expectation of winning either of these battles. Fight over here, because I got some units that are entrenched, is 130 to 80.2. Which is going to be the 1.5 to 1. That's not bad. I might win. I might. And if I take the hex, I win the game. And then maybe I don't do the other battle. I don't know. Each battle is such a fucking annoyance. The thing I had to do is hunt through all the counters for any DRs or DTs. I had a DR. It made its cab test, so it doesn't get that penalty. That's on a per unit basis. I think I did it just as a single blob. This thing's a single blob. I don't know. Just to make things... I mean... It's not like it reduces the strength I can put in. It reduces it affects my entire attack, is the problem with throwing things in. So I was at 1.5. I've got a no +3 there. I think I have eye-catching uniforms. I see French units with 2 colors on them. So that's +1. I do not have a flank attack. I covered here so that couldn't happen easily. There's no overruns or anything like that. I'm attacking from 3 different hexes. So that gets me down to a -2 net. I get another -2 because they don't have LLC. So that's a -4 net. It's beginning to look good. So the French have a -4 on the 1.5, which is kind of nice. I think, I don't know. That means I roll a 7. I look across. And that's going to be a 0 +1. I'm sorry, a +1 and a -9. So the attacker does not have to check first, which is important. And the defender has a nasty thing, which he probably is going to retreat. Those French are better than I thought. I'll do the cab tests on these. Hit on the Germans. I think that forces them to retreat. Let's see if Fieldworks has any impact on that. I don't think it does. There are other kinds of things that don't, or that do. Yeah, I don't see any preventing retreating, whereas I think the fortifications do have that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not seeing... Thought there was something that prevents you from having to retreat. Yeah, units in regular entrenchments only have to retreat if they take an automatic step loss, or if their attrition is bad enough. But that is not the case. And it's weird because this is structured with Fieldworks advantage. This is not structured with fortification advantage. So, I don't know. I don't know when you're allowed to build this ship, but I wouldn't have gotten a chance to. So, anyway. So I killed one artillery unit, which I'll move away, and these guys are going to have to retreat. But now, I looked this up, I have a +1 basis on all of these, so we might take some French casualties. But the game is over. The French have just won, because the Germans only have at most one of these. 21st Division Infantry underneath here just took another hit. I'm not going to mark it. I don't give a shit. And yeah, we're quitting now. The game is over. I don't want to do this other battle. I haven't even checked these. It's just, I don't care. And I don't think you care either about what happens if I roll these dice. I don't care what happens in this game, enough to cope with the pain that's involved in it. So this is Saint Gond. We're going to load this up and I'll review this thing. But I've already given it a point score over on BGG, which is a 4. That's the same as I gave Summer Storm. I respect this game more than I do Summer Storm. I feel like Summer Storm, they tried to throw this the kitchen sink in, and it's still, they failed at getting it to be accurate and believable. This, I think, is if you play it completely correctly. I don't know. That's my impression, my memory of Summer Storm. But I tried to put it out of my head. I don't remember what there was in it, but this is at least as bad, just because it's even more mechanically taxing, And it's like, yeah, no, make it a computer game, man. I wouldn't be playing it then either, but it's not worth wasting, this level of component quality on something that I think physically, at least for me, is unplayable. All right, up it goes.